My name is Andy Robertshaw. I'm the Curator-Manager of the Royal Logistic Corps Museum, and we're sat in the museum next to the medals of Herbert Sulzbach. Herbert Sulzbach was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1894, and he died in Britain in 1985 after a very long and extremely adventurous life. Born into a German-Jewish banking family, his military career was pretty conventional. In 1914 he volunteered and he went off to serve in the artillery in the 63rd Regiment of Artillery and was completely unscathed at the entire war. He had a very good campaign, not being wounded, and very importantly got the Iron Cross Second Class in 1916 and the Iron Cross First Class in 1918, and he also got the Frontline Order of Merit. So a good war, rising to the rank of captain, and in most terms absolutely conventional, except for one small thing. After the war he wrote a book which was called 4 Years with the German Guns, and this was published in 1935 and was extremely well received by the Nazi Party, who were very, very pleased. And in fact his publishers had just produced 3 books in a row. One was his, one was a biography of Mussolini, the other one was a biography of Hitler. So he was in interesting company, except for one small problem. By 1937 it was pretty clear that his family were Jewish and he was running into problems, and the book was not going to save him. So it was decided the only thing he could do was to leave Germany, and he moved to Surrey. And in fact he moved to Slough, where he was able to run a branch of the family business until he was deprived of his German citizenship and his banks were frozen. He had no money, and he found himself then in a situation where in 1940 he was an enemy alien in a country at war. To add insult to injury, the Luftwaffe then bombed his house, completely destroying it, and the only bright moment in the entire year was the fact that he was accepted into the British Army and he went into the Royal Pioneer Corps as a private soldier. Quite a come down from somebody with the Iron Cross First and Second Class. And for the next 4 years he laboured, literally laboured, building beach defences against the German invasion that never came. But in 1944, with a vast influx of German prisoners of war, they needed interpreters. Quite clearly he was bilingual and he understood the German military mind. And he was taken on as an interpreter, and he worked then in some massive prisoner of war camps, one of which was absolutely massive. 4,000 Germans, many of them die-hard Nazis, who even though the war was over, still stuck to their guns about Hitler being right. And what he actually does, and this is then very interesting, was on the Armistice Day, 1945, he organised an event in the camp to which everybody was invited. The poem, which many people know, Macrae's In Flanders Fields Where Poppies Grow, was read out. He then also had The Last Post played, and there was a 2-minute silence. And what he asked people to do in the camp was to go back to their home countries as Europeans, not as Nazis. He was so popular as a result of this that almost all of them agreed. Very few of them refused to join in. And in fact he began a movement that was recognised by the German government. As a result he was given the German Order of Merit, and after the war he became a British citizen. He was then also given his German citizenship back, and he then worked for the German embassy until his death in 1985. As a result of all his hard work, he received a British medal for his war service. Very, very importantly, he also received the OBE, and he received the very highest accolade of Europe, the Pays d'Europe, from the EU in recognition for his service. So in many ways his life and career spans a change from militarism to peace, from the creation of Europe, in which he wanted people to be good Europeans and not to think in nationalistic terms. His book, by the way, published in Britain in the 1950s, somewhat at odds with his new persona, but nonetheless still a very popular and well-read book today. And we have a very, very unusual set of medals. I think we're the only place that we can have a set of medals to a German Jew both for the First World War and for the Second World War, and for his post-war service to Europe.